مرحبا بكم في حلقة جديدة من برنامج لقاء عمل في إكسبو. يتأكد يوما بعد يوم أن معرض إكسبو هو أكبر مساهم في تسريع عملية التعافي الاقتصادي العالمي بعد جائحة كورونا. لم يبح إكسبو بجميع أسراره بعد، لكن مسعى كل الأجنحة لبناء مستقبل أفضل للبشرية انطلاقا من دبي هو واقع. لقاء عملنا اليوم سيكون مع الكنديين في الجناح الكندي. يتميز بكونه عبارة عن مسرح تفاعلي بزاوية 360 درجة يعرض قصة كندا، القصة الثرية الغنية المتنوعة، مصمما على شكل مبنى خشبي مستوحى من الطبيعة الكندية وبتصميم معماري شرق أوسطي. شعار الجناح الكندي نفكر في المستقبل، شعار يقدم من خلاله الكنديون رحلة مبهرة عبر ماضي البلاد، حاضرها ومستقبلها. قصة كندا في إكسبو نبدأها مع كولين بيتن رئيس مجلس الأعمال الكندي، وهو في انتظار الآن أمام الجناح. Colin.
Here you are.
How are you?
Nilfa, how are you?
How's everything?
Great. Welcome to the Canadian Pavilion.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting us here.
It's our pleasure indeed.
Today is at Canadian Pavilion. I see you are in one of those boxes. They are 8 actually.
That's right. They're correct.
So today is the gathering.
Yes. Right.
It's a very nice concept done by the traces. It's very poetic actually.
Correct. Correct.
And I think the viewers will hear some noises.
Right.
And every time someone will sit in those chairs, the voice will come down.
That's correct.
It's a very good concept. You should gather more and sit more and insisting that we should also preserve the nature and
agreed.
Those are the bird sounds.
That's right. That's right. So the 8 boxes are kind of Canada's commitment to biodiversity and the importance of addressing climate change. Canada has always been a leader in maintaining sort of ecosystems and wildlife and the environment. And these 8 boxes are symbolic of sort of our sort of overall sort of commitment and, you know, our identification of the importance of addressing that.
I like how it is from the entrance, people can see what is the message of Canada.
Yeah. Well, because we wanted to bring the pavilion experience outside the front doors and out here. So you don't have to enter the pavilion to understand what Canada is all about. You can experience a little bit of Canada just by coming in the foreground without having to go inside. But hopefully people will come, see these 8 art installations and then want to go inside as well too.
I want to go actually outside and more to appreciate the beauty of this iconic, and it's all woody. It's like they brought the forest from Canada here, right? And I like how they merge it with it's a melange, it's a mix with Middle Eastern design actually.
Well, that was the intent. Of course, you know, lumber, timber, the forests are a very big part of Canadian culture, history, and our economy. And so we wanted to find a way that we could sort of blend that with kind of the local experience. And so if you look at the Expo logo and then you look at the exterior of this pavilion, if you look at mashrabiyas as an architectural sort of element that's very common throughout the region, you'll see that there's a connection and a blend of both the Canadian and sort of the Middle East.
It is an amazing blend because it also looks like the official logo of the Expo.
Right.
And it's like here, but it's a beautiful mixture that the pavilion has actually.
Correct.
Let's talk business. There are around more than actually 150 companies settled here in UAE coming from Canada. What area of sectors they are working in?
Well, there's probably 7 or 8 big sectors that Canadians are very popular in here right now. Certainly sort of lumber and timber is one of them. We have an aerospace division that we're pushing very hard. I know they're working with the Space Agency and the Space Center. There's also healthcare, there's biotech, pharmaceuticals, infrastructure, architecture as well too. There's 7 or 8 sort of major sectors that the focus of what we do on, and that's where we work mostly.
Can I say that the Canadian Business Council has a role in attracting those businesses to come and settle, and do you help them?
Yeah, we work in sort of a multilateral way in the sense that we enable Canadian companies to come to the UAE, make the right connections, find the right people, understand how business works here. We work very closely with the consulate and their trade commissioners and making the connections between local businesses, both domestic and sort of foreign sort of Canadian companies. And we work a lot with SMEs here as well too, trying to introduce them to governments, different sectors, other connections. Basically, our function is as a business networking organization. Our job is to introduce people from Canada to the UAE and also internally across all different divisions of business.
What do you think attracts the businessmen, the companies, Canadian of course, to come and settle?
Well, a couple of things. Fundamentally, you know, Dubai is a gateway to a much larger sort of region. We all know that within an 8-hour flight of here, there's 3 billion people and $1 trillion in revenue. So obviously this is a starting point. It's very sort of progressive, modern business hub in terms of its legal, corporate infrastructure as well too. It's easier to set up businesses here, easy to get started. And you have access to so many other sort of regions and countries. And if you want to sort of find a place where it's the highest concentration of business leaders and sort of different types of businesses, you'll find them likely here in Dubai.
Well, the business has been suffering for the last 18 months because of the pandemic. Do you see the light at the end of the tunnel? Does it start to rebound because of Expo and of course because of other factors?
Yeah, I think Expo has been a very important marketing tool. It's been a public awareness branding tool for Dubai and the UAE. So I think in terms of communicating that we're here, we're open and available, and we're open for business, I think Expo has served that function. In terms of the economics of it, I mean, Expo has been important, but there's a much larger economy here that actually has been sort of building and growing. So I think Expo has been important, but probably more from a communications, branding, awareness point of view, more so than the actual fundamental underlying economic sort of foundation.
Any plans for the next 6 months or 5 months now to have events with the pavilion in Expo?
Right. Well, the next 6 months are Expo.
Yeah.
From the Canadian Business Council point of view, our annual program this year is radically different than previous years. We had, of course, an independent program of events and so on that would happen elsewhere. But this year, pretty much everything we do is linked to Expo. Plus, we're holding additional events this year. We're co-sponsoring the Terry Fox Run, which is a big, big part of Canadian sort of history. And it's going to happen just in early March.
Yeah.
We have Canada Day, which will happen at the end of January. We're having other events that are specifically focused on youth, women and girls, and arts and culture as well too. So in addition to our regular scheduled events, which are Expo related, right now we're doing special unique events specifically Expo in collaboration with both the consulate and the pavilion as well.
That is a lot to come.
It's a very busy year.
Tell me about you, Colin. You've been here for the last 15 years.
15 years, that's right.
And,
yeah.
So always the question is, why did you settle here coming from Canada?
That's a complicated story. Well, I'm an architect by trade,
yeah.
And I got my MBA both from the University of Toronto. I was running a big design business in Toronto, and they said, I think we may have an opportunity in Dubai. And I said, I think I have to go.
Yeah.
So I flew to Dubai one day, and I met some people, and I worked with the Canadian government, and I landed a small amount of business, and I opened an office here. And 2 years later, I had 25 people on staff, and we were the biggest, most profitable division of the company, right? And then I opened my own firm here 10 years ago, and here I am today.
It's always like this. I mean, sometimes people will come for 1 year or 2, and they just settle for more than decades.
Well, that's a really important point. 15 years ago when I first arrived, everybody said, I've been here for 2 years, I've been here for 3 years. And now, it's very common, you'll meet people like me. I mean, it's not that common anymore that people come for 2 years. The lifestyle, the career opportunities, look around what Dubai is. It's very common now for people to stay for 5 to 10 years. The 2 to 3 year sort of time frame, not that common anymore. Most people get here and they like it.
They are spoiled.
Yeah.
So you saw the transformation, evolution that Dubai and UAE has. What do you think are the sectors for the future for any businessman or company from Canada to come and settle? What are the sectors that you think should be focused?
Right, well, you know, His Highness has made a big commitment to technology, coding, computers, and that the IT side of the world. And you can see that sector is booming. Certainly the social media, website, digital world, I think is certainly booming here. There's no question that transportation, cargo, infrastructure, how to connect the dots, how to connect Dubai to the rest of this side of the planet is a very, very big deal. I think certainly healthcare, biotech is also a big, I think, food production. Again, the government has made a major commitment to ensuring food security, food safety. Yeah. And so that's booming as well too. I think, Dubai is often sort of seen as, hotels and glamour, but behind the scenes, there's so much more happening.
Around 40,000 Canadians settled here.
Right.
What is the value that they bring with them from Canada to here in your point of view?
Right. I think there's a tremendous amount of expertise, professional expertise. You look at the roles that Canadians occupy here. They're typically at senior levels in top companies, making important decisions and providing policy and direction and experience that actually can enable the country to grow. There's a lot of Canadians here in healthcare. A lot of doctors and nurses are here as well too. A lot in technology. You know that a lot of food actually comes in from Canada. Certainly canola, beans, corn, grain, wheat, all that kind of stuff. So there's not people, there's also goods, which are actually come from Canada to make here as well too. But you look at the real estate sector. A lot of Canadians across the top levels of retail, commercial, and hospitality real estate. They're important decision makers, and they play a big role in helping to support the vision for the country.
Amazing. Colin, His Excellency the Consul General of Canada is waiting for me inside.
A terrific guy.
This is amazing. This is the first time I will be interviewing him.
All right.
So, yeah. So I'm looking forward to it, and I don't want him to wait for me so
long. I understand.
So we'll go together.
Okay.
We'll leave you at the entrance. But I think the visitor will find a very pleasant experience, indoor and outdoor.
I think you'll see something here that's remarkable and you won't see in any other pavilion.
I think so.
And I think it really speaks to the heart of what Canada is, right? Which was the intent.
Of course. You have to come like we visited. I can hear
That's
the
right.
voices
You can hear the geese already, can't you?
Yeah.
You hear that and you think Canada. That's how that works.
Your Excellency, thank you for being with us.
Good morning and
good morning.
Welcome to the Pavilion of Canada at Expo Dubai 2020.
Thank you for welcoming us in this beautiful pavilion. Tell me, Your Excellency, why was it important for Canada to be present in this Expo 2020 that is coming after a very challenging time for everybody?
So, look, we decided to be here, of course, because Expo is a window to the world and Canada has a lot of things to showcase to the visitors that will come here. But deep down, very important is our relationship with the UAE, which is so important. And this is the first time that Expo takes place in the MENA region. And for us, it was so key to be here to support our friends, our UAE friends, as they showcase what they've achieved, what the UAE has done. They showcase that to the world.
It was interesting talking earlier with some of the pavilion team from Canada, and they mentioned that the first Expo in Canada was in Montreal in 1967. And that was 100 years of Canada. And now in 2021, it's the first time in UAE, and they will, of course, celebrate 50 years of existence. Does it make any sense? Is it touching that somehow it's a milestone for Canada and for UAE to have Expo?
That's a great observation for Canada. 1967 was an opportunity to show the world what we had become as a country, independent, strong, free, and to show where Canada was as a young country that was ready to take on the world. And I feel like there is a parallel there. UAE at 50, the UAE has achieved so much in those 50 years, how it has developed, how it has become one of the best countries in the world. And so, yeah, the similarity is there, is that Expo is that opportunity to showcase what it has achieved.
When the Embassy of UAE opened in Canada, it was in 1999. Back then, the bilateral trade was about $365 million. 2020, we are talking about $2 billion. What are the factors that help this bilateral trade, this relationship to grow stronger?
You know, the core of our bilateral trading relationship is, for us, it's food commodities that we supply to the UAE, and Canada has established itself as a reliable supplier of quality, healthy, and sustainable foods. And so that trade has grown as the population has grown in the UAE. But what has happened is also, as the UAE has developed its economy, then that trade has gone into the tech products, the aerospace products, the automotive products. And when I look forward, I really see that we're going to be growing that trade relationship into the next economy, the clean technologies, the health technologies, and so on.
There are around $30 billion investment from UAE into Canada. How do you see this number? And which sectors are UAE interested in Canada to invest in now and in the future?
So we're very fortunate to have some of the flagship investors from the UAE that have established a presence in Canada. DP World is one of the largest investors in port logistics. They operate 6 ports in Canada. Mubadala is also a very important investor in petrochemicals. There are investments in the natural resources, in oil and gas, and so on. But to us, having some of the 2 best names from the UAE, it's a mark of confidence that can open the way to others to do the same. I also want to note that Canadian investors are active in the UAE. So we have investments here in logistics, in real estate, and other areas. And I'm seeing also a growth in interest by Canadian investors to be present here in the UAE.
I just had the interview with Mr. Colin, the chairman of the Canadian Business Council, and he talked about more than 150 big company actually operating here in UAE in various sectors, like you said. How do you think Expo, or else not only Expo, can enhance this collaboration and bring other investors from Canada to settle here in UAE? So
what attracts foreign companies in the UAE? You know, it's the safe environment, it's the predictable business environment, it's you know, the strong economy and all of that. Those are very important factors. But at the end of the day, for Canada, we are a country that's far away from the UAE. Sure. And so Canadian companies have chosen the UAE and Dubai in particular as a hub to cover the region. So companies come, they settle here, they establish a base here, and from here they will cover markets in Africa, in the Middle East, in South Asia. That welcoming environment creates the conditions for companies to settle here and to then go after new markets that they may not have been able to reach had they done so from Canada.
What are the events that you are planning in the future to tighten this collaboration and coordination between UAE and Canada through Expo?
So Expo, as I said, it's a tremendous opportunity to showcase what Canada does best to the world. And so we have over 25 trade missions that are planned during the duration of Expo in various sectors, but we're really going to try to focus on those areas that offer the most opportunities for growth in the post-COVID environment. We talk about digital. We talk about clean technologies, about health technologies. Those are some of the areas we're going to focus on. in addition to that, for Canada, it's very important that trade be inclusive. What does that mean? That means trade as to benefits all society. It's not just for big corporations. Trade is for everybody. So Canada will put together some programming that is geared towards women entrepreneurs, towards indigenous entrepreneurs, and minority entrepreneurs, and so on. So we want to reach all of our entrepreneurs, not just the big companies, but also the SMEs and others that can equally benefit from being active in the UAE, from selling here, but also using the UAE as a platform to reach other markets.
Canada is very, very diverse country, very rich in history and in its culture. There are around 40,000 Canadians living here in UAE. What is their message? What is the values that they bring here to UAE, living and settling within more than 200 other nationalities?
So, you know, if I can leave two key words with your audience when they think about Canada, those two words will be diversity and inclusion. Yeah. Right? Canada is a country that welcomes people from all over the world. So a Canadian can be from all kinds of backgrounds, very diverse background. So I believe that the Canadians who come here to choose to settle in the UAE, 40,000, as you said, they bring those values with them. They contribute to the development of a society, the building of this country. We see Canadians in government. We see Canadians in finance, in education, in business. We see them all over the economy, and they are helping to develop this country, the UAE, while bringing with them those Canadian values of diversity and inclusion.
Before starting a tour with Marie-Geneviève in the pavilion, the Commissioner General, how will you use this platform that is the Canadian Pavilion, not only for the delegation that are coming and the business and investors, this is okay, but how about the other countries? Do you think this is where you can interact post-COVID, especially with other country and other delegations within the platform of Expo?
So yes, we have a number of initiatives that we're developing in collaboration with others. So I talked about supporting indigenous entrepreneurs. This is something that we're doing in collaboration with Australia and New Zealand, for example, and others. At the end of the day, the world joins here, and we want to make sure that companies who come or participants who come don't just look at the UAE, they look at the world coming through. But I go back to that concept, the UAE as a hub. So for us, Expo is just another expression of that hub where entrepreneurs and visitors can interact with partners, potential partners from the regions.
La francophonie is very important for Canada. Well, UAE, even though it's not its first or second language, is a member actually of La Francophonie since 2011. How do you see this collaboration? How important it is for you?
So La Francophonie is a very big tent. It's amazing to think how many people use French as a first language, a second language, or a third language, and La Francophonie embraces this concept of diversity and inclusion that I talked about earlier. And so, in terms of the UAE, for us, the UAE is a partner. We collaborate on so many important topics like climate change, like women empowerment, girl education. Those are areas where we work together very closely in international fora. So having them as part of this organization, which, as you say, is so important for Canada, is only another level of collaboration that we enjoy with the United Arab Emirates.
Your Excellency, your background is environmental science. It's a topic that is very, very dear and important for Canada and as well for UAE. UAE has a minister special for climate change and environment. How do you see the future collaboration between the two countries?
So as we look at the future, post-COVID, right? We think about that economy that we're going to try to shape as we emerge from COVID. It's going to have to be greener and cleaner than it was before. Climate change is the big challenge of our age as we look at the decades ahead. And so for Canada, this is a top line priority. We are investing in changing our economy, in electrifying, in reducing emissions and building the economy of the future. So I was very encouraged last week when the UAE announced that it would target to achieve a net zero economy by 2050. So Canada made the same decision, made the same announcements, and Parliament passed an act to achieve that same target. And so this opens up a brand new area of collaboration. We share a few things in common. One, we have natural resources are important. Oil and gas are important in both countries. We have to deal with harsh climate on the other different scale. But harsh
very
climate.
Cold and very hot.
And so the technology solution and the policy solutions that we have to pursue can complement each other. So there is room for collaboration in things like energy efficiency, in clean tech for natural resources, in carbon capture, utilization and storage, in hydrogen, as the UAE has been very bullish on hydrogen. So those are all areas where the two countries can and will work together. It's already started and it will only grow as we move forward.
It's a big horizon actually for future collaboration between UAE and Canada. Your Excellency, thank you very much for your interview. I know you have been very busy before and during also Expo, but thank you for this interview. Geneviève is waiting for me outside. She asked me to wait for her and to come at the main entrance of the pavilion, so I have to go with her. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank
you.
Bonjour, bienvenue au pavillon du Canada.
Merci beaucoup Geneviève. Thank you for waiting for us and welcoming us in the pavilion. The theme is futuristic, talks about the future, but I have the feeling that the pavilion is very poetic.
Yes, and actually we try to bring as much as possible excellence and diversity of our diverse artistic expression. Like you see this magnificent painting, it's called Never Melting Ice, and it's a celebration of artistic excellence, but also a concern of the environment. So the artist is from Newfoundland, and she participated in a discovery in the Arctic. She accompanied scientists who are studying like the impact of climate change on glaciers.
How about this? Can I say mask?
Yes, this is a really interesting piece. It's a mask, so it's a mix of the tradition of indigenous people and the modernity. And we also have this piece, which is a very great celebration.
This one is amazing.
Yeah, it's called The Traveler.
Yeah.
And it's a mix of, you know, different cultures to put together by an artist. So this is something we're very proud in Canada, is that diversity brings creativity.
This is really amazing. It's beautiful how at the entrance you can see this also artistic work. You brought it from Canada here, right? For an exhibition for 6 months.
Yes, we did, because we think it's very important. So we want to celebrate the best that Canada has to offer in terms of artists and the diversity. So we have visual arts, but also we have a great partner with the National Arts Center. We're bringing every month, you know, like artists for like singers and dancers to animate the sites of the expo and showcase, you know, like the diversity of our culture.
Canada, very rich.
Yes.
At the entrance, Marie-Geneviève, What I liked also are the boxes.
Yes.
There's where I started this poetic journey inside the pavilion. It started outside, actually. I love how you advocate for the climate change, for the environment, for the planet through the art.
Yes, this is a great partnership we have with the National Film Board. The National Film Board, they're renowned around the world. They had so many international prizes, and they were kind enough to partner with us to have this exhibition outside of the pavilion. So it's the first contact of the visitor. And as you say, it's very poetic, and it wants to have a dialogue, you know, like with nature and human, and make us think of what happened in the past, what has changed, and what needs to change in the future. So it's very artistic, and with the birds. So the birds is a thematic.
I can feel them.
Yes.
And I can hear them, and they are there. It's part of the experience.
Yes. And this exhibition after Expo is going to travel around the world.
Really?
Yes.
The bird thing and the 8 boxes from Traces. It's beautiful. It's really worth to be shown all over the world, actually. It's a nice experience. And Marie-Geneviève, it's circular. I think it's one of the few pavilions that is really round, circular. Does it have any meaning?
Yes, it's a symbol of unity, of collaboration, you know, like, so this is very important. And also the wood is trying to make a link with the UAE culture, Mashrabia, you know, and then we added in filigrane, you have the landscape of Canada, like the mountains. So it's something that was very important in terms of the architecture of the pavilion.
I like that we have the history, the diversity, we have the art, it's and the poetism of Canada, but it is futuristic as well and very technology oriented.
Well, it's a great opportunity for Canada to showcase its innovation and, you know, like showcase as a place to invest, to do business, to immigrate, to study, to visit. Yeah. But I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the United Arab Emirates and the Expo organizer. This is really an accomplishment they did. They had to pull together all these, you know, like fight all this pandemic and the complexities of it, and it was very difficult, and I'm sure like they must have had hard nights sometimes, you know.
I think it's for them and for everybody, because Expo is very hard, but Expo during pandemic is another level of challenge.
Yeah, and they pulled it, like it's great. Like if you look around, like all the pavilions are open, the visitors are coming, so it's really, congratulations, they really did an amazing job.
It is great to be here in Expo and interviewing you and discovering the Canadian Pavilion. And we are in a journey with you, Marie-Geneviève, to discover the diversity that is Canada.
Yeah, well, we talk about artistic, we talk about, you know, invest in Canada and everything. There's another very important element, is the culinary program. If you want to come with me, I'll introduce you to our chef.
Yes, I would love to.
Yes, please. So it will be my pleasure to introduce to you Chef Wayne Murphy. And Chef Wayne was actually the head chef at the Canada Pavilion in Aichi in 2005 and Shanghai in 2010.
And Dubai 2020.
Yes, I'm so
Hi,
lucky.
Chef, I'm sorry. I scared you, but I'm excited. How are you, Chef?
I'm fine. I'm great. I'm happy to be here. Proud to be representing Canada.
Excellent. And we are happy there is something that we will try today. What did you prepare for us, Chef Wayne?
Today we are going to have a veal chop from Quebec.
Yeah.
Milk-fed veal chop from Quebec with morel mushrooms from the boreal forest in Canada.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. I want to try it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Is it ready?
Yes, it is.
Morel, my favorite mushroom.
Oh, you have.
Oh, wow.
You have a team with us. Thank you very much.
Yes, the team.
Yes.
We have a culinary program here at the pavilion, and we have 4 young chefs from Canada. Only 2 woke up this morning. We have Keandra, who's from Western Canada in Calgary, and we have Phil, who's from Central Canada in the capital, Ottawa.
Hi, Keandra. Hi, Philip. Wish you all the best in this journey for culinary and representing, of course, Canada. What an amazing experience for them. I mean, to write it on their resume. We've been in Expo 2020 Dubai, representing Canada. It's great. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I would love to try it. So, tell me, this is Mushroom.
These are a type of mushroom. They're morel mushrooms, and we brought them from Canada.
Yeah.
And they're delicious.
And I have something else. My eyes are on something else as well. I love mashed potatoes.
Oh,
or anything that has to do with potatoes.
It's also very Canadian. We eat a lot of mashed potatoes.
Okay, very good. Have something
Please,
similar.
please
I am
try.
digging in this. Thank you very much. I'm going to dig in.
I'm gonna take this morel mushroom. They're so good. You should.
That will be
try
next
it.
for me.
Yeah, it's. Chef.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you
You're
so
very
much.
welcome. Very welcome.
I will try this
This
mushroom.
is very good.
My first mushroom. What's its name?
Morel.
Morel
Morel.
mushroom.
You see, it's amazing.
Completely different taste of mushroom. I love it.
You know, even people who
Right.
don't like mushrooms like morels usually.
Very good. Thank you so much,
You're
Chef.
very welcome.
Thank you.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you for coming.
And I think the culinary and the cuisine of Canada is very diverse, right?
Yes.
We only tried one.
Very much.
Yes.
Dish.
Please come back.
I will, of course, for food like this. I'm coming back, Chef.
Great.
Marie-Geneviève, what is next for
Well,
us?
I really would want you to experiment our 360 showcasing
Sure.
Canada as an innovative country and diverse and
Oh, would
beautiful.
love to.
You can see the bird is also very present
I can
here
see it
again.
and here. as
Yes,
well.
absolutely. So
You
this-
have a story with the birds. in
Yes,
the
we
pavilion.
do. We decided to take it as a link between the different elements of the pavilion, and I guess it was inspired by the outdoor exhibit, you know, like Traces, that is so poetic, as you mentioned earlier. So this is a link, and this is done by NGX. It's a Canadian company that worked with our contractor Alice Dawn,
Yeah.
who was the maître d'œuvre of the Canada Pavilion. I have to say, great partnership. And we're pretty proud of this. So we have this bird that is going to go around, and in a minute, you'll see Canada, a view from the space, actually. And as you know, like this week is the thematic week is space.
In Expo.
And Canada is very much involved in space. Like we're partners in the International Space Station, and actually we have the president of the Canadian Space Agency, Madame Campbell, coming this week to participate in the Space Week. So you can see. This is Canada.
Canada from space.
Yes.
Oh, it is a vast and large country.
It is a very huge country, very diverse country too, and very proud of its diversity. And it's, you know, like we're a society as inclusive as we can. We value, you know, like we have fundamental values in terms of inclusivity, diversity, human rights, and we try to showcase that in this experience, immersive experience.
And of course, when you say Canada, we say lakes and forests. Look at this.
Yeah, so we went around the 4 seasons, celebrating the 4 seasons. People think we only have summer and winter, but we do have 4 seasons. Actually, the fall is one of the most beautiful seasons. And so we tried to showcase, you know, how Canada has to offer in terms of, yes, the iconic landscape and images, but also like a country with a special talent in innovation, artificial intelligence, a society that can contribute to like the major challenges that the world is facing right now.
Yeah, that is important, how Canada felt that they have to be as leader as many other countries in finding solution for the challenge that the planet is facing, even though it's a small nation in numbers, right?
Absolutely, and I think we have to all work together. Like, I mean, it's pretty obvious, and the whole COVID situation, like, you know, got the best of all of us. You know, like to work together and find solutions, and
it was a lesson for everybody.
It was a great lesson, and I think the Expo, being the first event post-pandemic, will even increase that collaboration spirit between the countries, because we learn about each other, you know, like in this context of Expo. It's fantastic too.
You have always those value of unity and coordination, collaboration, and I think you have it within Canada and with other nations and with other countries. Look at this, beautiful.
So this is like, we're showcasing, as I was saying, the iconic images of Canada, but also we wanted to really show, you know, who we are in terms of, you know, like a modern society. And this is like, obviously, like the Northern Lights. And
you have it also?
Yes.
We always think it's in, you know, Ireland, Finland, but I didn't know you have it in Canada.
In the northern parts of Canada, it's amazing.
Oh.
And we have a lot of tourists actually going to cities like Yellowknife because they want to see the Northern Lights. They're beautiful, like they're green and mauve, violets. It's great. And this is a segment. We just thought, you know, like,
and health.
We can't avoid talking about the pandemic. We still are, you know, like in a post-pandemic situation. Yeah. So we wanted to recall this, you know, show the diversity of Canadians, but also this, you know, means that Zooms and FaceTimes that we had to use over like for a year and a half as the mean of communicating and advancing. So this was, you know, like something we thought we should, you know, like acknowledge.
Beautiful. It's beautiful how we see everything, how lives are really diverse, and also the landscape is amazing. You can see the fall, the waterfall,
and our indigenous, you know, like cultural. We have the privilege of having, you know, a very diverse indigenous, you know, culture, and they're very innovative too. Like they're the ones. Nobody's, you know, like has the idea how innovative indigenous people have been, like inventions like the kayak, and it's amazing. And so we're very proud of that contribution.
Geneviève, I want to end with you this nice tour in the Canadian Pavilion with the message that Canada want to deliver to the whole world through this pavilion.
Well, first of all, the thematic of the pavilion is the future in mind, but when the visitor leaves the pavilion, we want them to have Canada in mind as a place to visit, to go for studying, to invest, to do business with, and a partner for all the challenges we have to face together.
Thank you so much, Marie-Geneviève, for this journey with you inside the pavilion, and definitely people should come, visit the pavilion, discover the beauty that is Canada with all its diversity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your visit, and this is your home. Anytime you want to come,
definitely,
you're welcome.
Coming back for the meal, for the food, and of course for this journey. شكرا لكم مشاهدينا على المتابعة. الأسبوع القادم جناح جديد وشخصيات جديدة في برنامج لقاء عمل في إكسبو. Marie-Geneviève, I would love to have this again, but with music, with the natural sound that it is. But with music, with the natural sound that it is. How about we sit there?
Yes, for sure.
Let's go. He's here behind us.
Yes, and it's a raven, and this is a powerful symbol of indigenous culture. That's why we chose the raven.